How's it guys, this is Dayvy FP and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, we're going to be talking about Game Week 18's preview. Going to be going through a lot of the free hit teams, the options, the budget options, the more premium options, and also looking at the potential fixture changes that have altered our chip strategies. So if that's something you're interested in, sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. So the first talking point I wanted to go over was a more general one. It's going to be a reminder of the fixtures that happened from the last game in Game Week 17 to the first deadline game in Blank Game Week 18, and that's the FA Cup and the League Cup. So we have FA Cup round fixtures, which is basically every single team in the Prem, and then we have the League Cup semi-finals, which only consists of Manchester United, Man City, and also Spurs. So going into that League Cup, the League Cup fixtures happen before the FA Cup fixtures, so I think the FA Cup games are the ones that you must focus on. I can basically think of teams like Man City, maybe even a Liverpool or United. Now this is the FA Cup earlier round, so I don't know if they were going for full strength, but the nice thing to see for Man City is if they do rest more of their premium options, they're almost certain to start in Blank Game Week 18. I think a lot of us on our free hit are going to really be looking at that lineup for the FA Cup game because we want to kind of predict which Man City 3 would be the best going into that Blank Game Week 18 free hit. So this is just a little bit of a reminder of there's a lot of football between Game Week 17 and Blank Game Week 18, so please pay attention to team news as well as injuries. So the watch list has been updated because it's a little bit of a weird one using a watch list for a Blank Game Week 18, but I've basically highlighted some players that are going to be playing in Blank Game Week 18 that I could potentially bring in after that for the main squad. So I will be using my free hit probably in Game Week 18. So these are players that I could maybe bring in with those free transfers for my mainstay side. So the first one is going to be Tierney from Arsenal. Now a little bit of a knee jerk there because he had a really good Game Week 17, but they were playing West Bromwich Albion, so you might not look into that too much, but I do think from an attacking point of view, I really like when those fullbacks have a great attacking threat, and Arsenal also have made it a little bit more safe from a defensive point of view. So 5.4, got 1 goal and 2 assists, and basically has played most minutes for Arsenal, which is nice to see as their backline has been rotated a little bit, but he's just a little bit of an option there, that mid-range price. If I want to upgrade my defense to a more premium defense, I could look at the Arsenal fullback. Then the next two players are going to be the Man City options, and we've spoken about those lovely fixtures coming up for them in the new double Game Week 19. They have Crystal Palace and Aston Villa, and the nice thing about that is they have lovely fixtures after that, which we'll be talking about in a little bit. So Ruben Diaz and Kevin De Bruyne are my two choices there because I do think these two assets are the more nailed options from those Man City lineups, and I can expect them to be in the starting 11 most game weeks. So 5.8 might be a little bit expensive for a defender that's got 0 assists and 0 goals, but I still think that he could be a good asset with those clean sheets because Man City have been absolutely racking up those clean sheets recently, and he's basically played a lot of minutes there, similar to Kevin De Bruyne, and on a Man City side that constantly rotates, that's nice to see. Then we have Kevin De Bruyne, and the main reason he's in here is for that double Game Week 19. I'm in the position that I own Son and Kane, and I could potentially take both of those out and bring in the Ginger Prince and then another striker to pair with him. So I want to see how he's playing in Blank Game Week 18 to really affirm my trust in him, to bring him in and potentially captain him going into that double Game Week 19. So the budget options are the first options we're going to be talking about because we've spoken about the Kevin De Bruynes, we've spoken about even the Tierneys, so we have to have some budget options so that we can afford these premium assets. So I've highlighted here 4 teams going into Blank Game Week 18 that you could actually find some budget options. There are some teams that are a bit of a stretch here. I know I've spoken about Sheffield United previously and how bad they are, and why am I highlighting 3 options here? But that's just simply because they are facing Newcastle, and Newcastle are one of the worst attacking sides in the Prem at the moment. So Sheffield United might keep a clean sheet here. My current prediction might be a 0-0, an absolute ball fest here for the first game of Blank Game Week 18, but Sheffield United have some options there. I would only kind of recommend Brewster if you really need the budget. I don't even know if he's going to be starting in this one. In the last game, I think he played about 29 minutes, so definitely not a set starter, but if you need a 4.5 forward that absolutely will probably be on your bench, then you could look at him. Also Basham and Ramsdale from a defensive point of view, just if you want to kind of take a punt, maybe put a little bit of faith in Sheffield United. Might be rich coming from the guy who had Ramsdale for the first couple game weeks of the season, and I can assure you that he didn't get me many points. Then the first team there I've highlighted is Aston Villa, because although they are actually a really good side, they do still have some budget options. The only thing about Aston Villa is they are facing Spurs, who I do think will score in this one, so maybe you don't want one of their defenders like Target, but El Ghazi and Watkins provide a nice price point for their attacking options. I would probably favor El Ghazi here, and I actually put him in my initial free draft. You guys can go check that out. I uploaded it a little bit earlier on in the week, but El Ghazi is really good at his price point and is getting loads forward, and his stats are actually looking really good. So I would favor El Ghazi, but in that forward department, because of the lack of forward options in Blank Game Week 18, Watkins could also be a decent shout. Then we go on to Newcastle, who although Newcastle have been bad from a defensive point of view, they are facing one of the, if not the worst side in the Premier League at the moment, Sheffield United. So Wilson, Hendrick, those are nice alternatives there. Not too expensive forwards, especially Hendrick if you want a really cheap option in midfield, but also Yedlin. So Yedlin's actually come into the lineup for the past couple game weeks and is playing adequately well. Does have a massive amount of pace, so maybe from an attacking point of view that could interest you, but he is 4.3 if I do recall, so a nice alternative there to maybe a Jamal Lewis who seems to have lost his place. You could go for basically anyone of that Newcastle backline, as most of them are quite cheap. Then the final team is the team that I probably will be focusing on for my free hit because of a really good game week 17, and that's Arsenal. So Saka and Holding are highlighted here because Holding comes in at about 4.5. I think he's risen in price recently, so might be 4.6, but he provides a nice option. Basically going to be holding on for a clean sheet there because from an attacking point of view doesn't get forward that much. But then Saka has been playing really well, so I would monitor the whole situation with how he plays in the games leading up to game week 18, and then bring him in if he seems to be rotating in those games because I think he is due a rest. So the next options we're going to be talking about are the premium options. So what I've done here is I've taken the more expensive options from the more expensive sides: Arsenal, Spurs, Man City and Manchester United. And what I've done is I've highlighted my favorite option from each of these sides, and I'll be explaining why I've opted for these players instead of their other alternatives. So first off, we have Lacazette. You might be wondering why I didn't go for Aubameyang. That's just simple. Aubameyang is super expensive and Lacazette is currently outperforming him. She's getting in the box loads as he is that main striker, plays centrally up front for Arsenal recently, so that's why I'm favoring Lacazette to Aubameyang, because Aubameyang seemed to be pushed out wide, which I always don't really favor for Aubameyang. So Lacazette is my favorite option here. Not only comes in cheaper, but he is performing better. And then going on to Spurs, it's a little bit of a toss-up here, 50-50 between Son and Kane, but I do favor Son in this one because I think we saw against Manchester United were basically attacking Aston Villa on the counter constantly, and Son is always the main counter-attacking threat for Spurs. So Kane is also still a good shout. His counter-attacking ability is also quite good, but if you're going to compare Son and Kane with pace, Son definitely beats him in that one. So that's why I'm favoring him. The only thing you might struggle a little bit is that there's a lot of midfield options for blank game week 18, a lot of striking options. So maybe you prefer Kane there than Son because you'd rather prefer Bruno Fernandes or Kevin De Bruyne in that midfield slot. So those two players we'll be covering next. Man City, Man United, not much to talk about here. Kind of a no-brainer that you're going to be favoring Fernandes and De Bruyne. I mean, they're just the best players in both of those sides, and I think are almost essential going into blank game week 18 if you are using your free hit. So the next talking point I wanted to go over is the no free hit options, and basically what I mean here is if you guys aren't using your free hit in game week 18, who are players and who are teams that you must target for game week 18's free transfer so that you can actually prepare nicely for game week 19. The one thing we always tend to forget when we get a little bit less casual is that we always focus on those double game week 19 players and we kind of get tunnel vision on them, and we always forget the single game week players. So what I wanted to do is in this talking point, we're going to be highlighting those single game week players with fixtures that I think these players can do well in, starting off with Arsenal. So Arsenal face Newcastle in game week 19, but the game week 18 fixture against Crystal Palace is also quite good. So I would really recommend get an Arsenal player in because their game week 18 and 19 fixtures are superb, and there also are some budget options. So those transfers should be quite easy, as you can easily downgrade an option for an Arsenal player. But I think if you are going to be using a free transfer this game week, you must focus on Man City. So Man City face Brighton in game week 18, and then in game week 19 they have a double. So like Manchester United, they have a single, then they have a double. So if you don't want to focus on more of a single, go for Man City or Manchester United. I would favor Man City though, because they do have that really nice double of Crystal Palace, Aston Villa. But if you don't kind of want to go for them and you want to keep your Spurs assets, I don't think that's the worst decision in the world, because they do face Sheffield United in double game week 19. So these fixtures could actually be quite good, but if I was to not use my free hit in blank game week 18 and I needed to bring in a double 19 player, I think that you can't go wrong with any Man City option. You just basically have to hope that they start. So the final talking point we're going to be going over is the captaincy debate. So it's actually nice to see that we do have some captaincy considerations for blank game week 18, because that actually tells me that this might be more of a high scoring game week than we actually do think. So great fixtures here, I think, for Man City and also for Manchester United. The Spurs fixture against Aston Villa is really hard to call. Both of those sides can win. It could be a draw. I can see this game going either way. It might even be 0-0 and then we're all disappointed with those Spurs assets from an attacking point of view. But I think that Man City is basically what I'll be looking at. I think that Kevin De Bruyne Fernandes a standout captaincy, if not the best captaincy option for blank game week 18, just because it is against Brighton. Now, Brighton are quite attacking as well, so I don't think they're going to park the bus too much, which against Man City is usually a bad thing because Man City generally destroy teams that come out and push them and play them. But this could be one of those games. It's a little bit of a toss-up as well, but I do think Kevin De Bruyne will be my captain in my free hit side. But Bruno Fernandes is also a good shot, but I just think that Burnley might be a little bit more tight defensively than Brighton will, especially because it is a home game for Burnley versus an away fixture for Brighton. So this is basically a wrap of the video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like it if you did and subscribe if you're new and have not subscribed yet. I have uploaded quite a few videos this week, so if you're watching this video as of the day of release, go check out yesterday's video, which was my initial free hit draft. And then coming up later in the week, I'm going to talk about my updated chip strategy as well as my final team selection coming up on Thursday. So I'll also be checking you guys on my Twitter at DayvyFPL. Follow me if you're not. And I'm already signing off. It's been DayvyFPL and I'm out. Cheers. Bye.